In Japan, there are 4 Zaibutsu conglomerates that support underground death matches involving genetically engineered hybrids called therianthropes. These hybrids possess both human intelligence and animal strength. One day, a group of men kidnaps a high school girl named Hitomi Uzaki with the intention of assaulting her. Yuuya Nomoto, a college student, is forced to drive the van used in the abduction. However, to Yuuya's surprise, Hitomi effortlessly eliminates her attackers before they can harm her. They are then compelled to head to an arena where Hitomi is scheduled to fight against a lion hybrid. Hitomi makes a daring bet, wagering the money that Yuuya's organs would fetch if they were harvested and sold. To Yuuya's astonishment, she reveals that she is a hybrid of a honey badger, known as the most fearless creature on Earth, and easily defeats her opponent. Later on, Hitomi's guardian, Ryuki Shido, enlightens Yuuya about the Zaibutsu's motive behind the death matches to attract wealthy investors and gain political and economic influence. Since Hitomi bet Yuuya's organs, technically, he becomes her only investor, granting her the opportunity to participate in these matches. Yuuya is assigned the role of protecting Hitomi and is given her prize money of 100 million yen to bet on future fights. Eventually, Yuuya is attacked by another hybrid who seeks information about Hitomi. Yuuya is about to face a dire situation, but Hitomi arrives just in time to rescue him. However, the situation takes an unexpected turn when the hybrid, Ryoko Araka, reveals her true identity as a porcupine hybrid from the Yatsubishi Zaibutsu. Armed with metallic quills used as stabbing weapons, Ryoko initially planned to kill Yuuya, thereby eliminating Hitomi's investor for future matches. However, she changes her plan and decides to target Hitomi instead. During their intense battle, it becomes evident that Ryoko's metal weapons are ineffective against Hitomi's honey badger skin, which proves to be remarkably resilient. In the midst of this confrontation, a hippopotamus hybrid named Ichinasuke Kojima intervenes, knocking out Ryoko. Ichinasuke extends an invitation to Hitomi to join the Ishida Zaibutsu. Initially, Hitomi vehemently refuses, but after receiving a message from Ryuki, she changes her mind and agrees to participate in her next death match as a representative of the Ishida. In a surprising twist, Hitomi transfers to Yuuya's university, where she encounters Iruza Nakanishi, a cheetah hybrid also affiliated with the Yatsubishi Zaibutsu. Iruza manages to provoke Hitomi by stealing her underwear, deliberately provoking her into a fight. However, before the altercation escalates, a representative from the Mitsukado Zaibutsu interrupts and informs them that, due to Hitomi representing Ishida in the upcoming death match, they are forbidden from fighting beforehand. Unbeknownst to the fighters, unknown observers closely monitor the situation. These observers reveal that all 4 Zaibutsu groups have set their sights on Hitomi and are likely planning to strike during the imminent death match. In order to conceal their true identities as hybrids, Hitomi and Iruza resort to wearing cosplay outfits, attracting the attention of students from the photography club who begin taking pictures of them. Meanwhile, as Yuuya returns home, he is surprised to find Leo, the lion hybrid, alive and in the company of Yoko Mitsukado, the granddaughter of the president of the Mitsukado Zaibutsu. Yoko discloses a shocking revelation: Hitomi's guardian, Ryuki, is utilizing the matches as a means to test his hybrid research. Yuuya is then compelled to participate in the upcoming match as Hitomi's strategist. Yoko becomes infuriated when Yuuya agrees to partake, as she had hoped his cowardice would lead him to withdraw from the match. Consequently, she decides to join the match herself with the intention of ensuring Hitomi's demise. Since the match necessitates 3 team members, Ichinasuke attempts to recruit another hybrid. However, the only available option is Yui Inaba, a rabbit hybrid who has yet to secure a victory in any match. Yui finds herself under attack by Akemi Kishimoto, a horned lizard hybrid who has been preventing other hybrids from joining the Ishida team. Akemi possesses the ability to shoot blood bullets from her eyes, and Yui is nearly hit by this deadly attack. Fortunately, Hitomi comes to Yui's rescue in the nick of time. Utilizing her keen hearing, Yui deduces that Akemi has a twin sister who is firing from a different location. With this information, Hitomi is able to defeat the sisters without causing any fatal injuries. Since engaging in fights prior to the match is strictly prohibited, Hitomi resorts to blackmailing the sisters, forcing them to falsely claim that they were defeated by Yui. Excited by her very first victory, Yui eagerly joins their team, completing the trio for the upcoming match. Prior to the commencement of the matches, Hitomi's team encounters Nakanishi Taiga, a tiger hybrid who fights for the Yatsubishi group. Surprisingly, Taiga's sister, Iruza, expresses her desire to eliminate Hitomi. Meanwhile, the match on Hotei Island in the Philippine Sea is announced, with Ryuki Shida taking on the role of the match director. Once the match begins, the hybrids find themselves compelled to follow instructions from their respective investors, who manipulate their movements on the map akin to chess pieces. Yuuya initially faces disdain from his opponents, who are aware of his lack of understanding of the game. However, their perspective changes when Yuuya makes a remarkable move, revealing that Hitomi has been discreetly sending him hand signals through the CCTV monitors, guiding him on which locations to maneuver her to. Hitomi confronts her first adversary, Jerome Hongo, a bear hybrid representing the Mitsukado faction. To the astonishment of the investors, Hitomi swiftly incapacitates Jerome with a single move, rendering him unable to continue the fight. Elsewhere on the map, Ichinasuke forms a temporary alliance with Shota Yabe, a gorilla hybrid from Mitsukado, and Ruji Shinya, a crocodile hybrid from Sumitomo. Their objective is to work together and bring down Taiga as a unified team. Utilizing the jungle terrain to his advantage, Taiga effortlessly incapacitates Ruji and Shota. Meanwhile, Iruza is deliberately directed to an area that falls outside the camera coverage, providing an opportunity for Kate Kazama, a gecko hybrid, and Den Amuna, a cobra hybrid, to restrain her. Disturbingly, Den plans to commit a heinous act of sexual assault against Iruza. Witnessing this unfolding situation, Ichinasuke resolves to fight to the death. However, Taiga receives a sudden command from his investor, instructing him to move to another location in order to rescue Iruza. Before Taiga can depart, Ruji immobilizes him by trapping Taiga's leg in his powerful jaws. Yuuya realizes that Ruji had strategically planned this move, as hybrids who fail to comply with instructions within a specific time frame face execution via explosive collars. Meanwhile, Yuuya is depicted alone in a different part of the island, diligently digging a burrow. As Den prepares to carry out his despicable act against Iruza, he is unexpectedly attacked by Hitomi, who was strategically moved to that location by Yuuya to rescue Iruza. Yuuya becomes the subject of mockery from the investors for making what they perceive as a foolish move to save an opponent. As the cameras are redirected to capture the unfolding events, Hitomi finds herself grappling with the challenge of countering Kade's fighting style, which extensively utilizes the adhesive properties of her fingers. In the midst of this struggle, Iruza, taking advantage of the distraction caused by Hitomi, inflicts a slashing attack on Den's face. Reluctantly, Hitomi decides to form a temporary alliance, realizing the necessity of working together. Consequently, Hitomi opts to confront Den, while Iruza takes on the task of fighting against Kate. Through a flashback, it is revealed that Den and Kate were hired by Sumitomo to participate in the match. Yuuya discovers that when Shida assumed control of the matches, he modified the rules to allow criminals like Den to volunteer for hybridization and compete. In another location, Taiga is suddenly released from Ryuji's grip by Ichinasuke, granting Taiga the opportunity to swiftly escape to his designated destination and cancel the imminent explosion that would have claimed his life. Vowing vengeance, Ryuji swears to kill Ichinasuke. Meanwhile, Yuuya is shown diligently digging an intricate underground tunnel. In a strategic move, Hitomi deceives Den and attempts to launch an attack on his blinded right side. However, she is unaware that Den can still detect her presence by utilizing his snake-like tongue to track her body heat. Suddenly, Hitomi collapses, paralyzed by the venomous breath of Den. As the situation intensifies, Kate undergoes a further transformation, assuming a monstrous form as a gecko hybrid, overpowering Iruza. Den prepares to commit a heinous act against Hitomi, but at the last moment, Hitomi overcomes the paralysis and swiftly severs Den's genitals with a single swift slash. Filled with rage, Den retaliates, but Hitomi effortlessly bisects his body, severing his tail and incapacitating him. Left to face both Iruza and Hitomi alone, Kate finds herself in a challenging predicament. Just as Ichinasuke is on the verge of succumbing to Ruji in their battle, their confrontation is abruptly interrupted by the arrival of Kido, a hybrid sponsored by Yoko. Shota's teammate, Kido, surprises everyone by eliminating Ruji with a single punch without even transforming into his hybrid form. In a shocking turn of events, Kido proceeds to ruthlessly beat Ryuji's lifeless body, leaving the investors stunned. Meanwhile, Shota turns his aggression towards Ichinasuke, who mysteriously vanishes without a trace. Following the chaos, Kade receives orders to escape from the vicinity. Iruza and Hitomi, however, find joy in engaging in a fierce battle with each other. Meanwhile, Ichinasuke is discovered trapped in one of the tunnels dug by Yuuya, who emerges alongside Shota, causing her to flee in fear. In a surprising twist, Iruza pins down Hitomi with the intention to end her life, but unexpectedly, their encounter takes a passionate turn as they share a kiss. Little do they know, their actions are influenced by Kaori Rikujo, a civet hybrid from Yatsubishi, whose pheromone induces uncontrollable lust. Yoko, witnessing such tactics, becomes enraged, viewing them as dishonorable and disgraceful. Kade is strategically pushed into a fight against Taiga, resulting in her instantaneous demise. As the investors grow more enthralled by Iruza and Hitomi's display, Yoko interrupts, demanding the continuation of the game. However, her true motive is unveiled, to humiliate Shida by defeating his hybrids and tactics, thus putting an end to his control over her cherished grandfather. Amidst the chaos, Hitomi suddenly breaks free from the effects of the lust-inducing pheromone, redirecting her focus towards her true desire for Shida. Seizing the opportunity, she launches an attack on Kaori, just as Taiga approaches the scene. The presidents of the four Seibutsu companies engage in a discussion tainted by corruption, exploring the idea of legalizing hybrids and transforming matches into a lucrative business solely owned by the winning Zaibatsu of the current game. Shida, as the leader of the hybrid creation project, has been orchestrating events in a way that ensures he will wield ultimate power regardless of which Zaibatsu emerges victorious. Taiga adamantly insists on facing Hitomi alone without the assistance of Iruza or Kaori. Shota successfully ensnares Yuuya, albeit causing significant damage to numerous trees in the process, oblivious to Kido's deep disdain for anyone who harms the forest. Kido retaliates by tearing Shota apart but spares Yuuya's life. Filled with determination, Yuuya resolves to aid Hitomi. Taiga divulges his ultimate objective of defeating Leo, emphasizing that Leo possesses much greater strength than commonly perceived. Leo had intentionally feigned defeat against Hitomi, deeming her strength to be far beneath his own, and not worthy of a serious confrontation. Recognizing that Leo only engages in true battles with those he considers his equals, Taiga has tirelessly worked to grow stronger in order to challenge and defeat Leo on equal grounds. Hitomi's belief that she could kill Leo has deeply insulted Taiga, compelling him to exact revenge by killing Hitomi. Now, both Hitomi and Taiga brace themselves for a battle that could culminate in their mutual demise. Yuuya reflects on how his life had been devoid of meaning until he encountered Hitomi. With strategic patience, Hitomi endures multiple blows from Taiga, biding her time for the opportune moment to launch a counterattack. Yuuya rushes to warn Hitomi about Kido, unaware of Taiga's presence behind her. As Yuuya tries to escape, she falls victim to the effects of Kaori's pheromones and collapses. The investors ridicule Yuuya for supposedly causing Hitomi's demise due to his playing style. However, fueled by his friendship with Hitomi, Yuuya conquers his fear and decides to sacrifice his turn to relocate Hitomi, enabling her to continue the battle against Taiga. Just as Hitomi nearly manages to retaliate against Taiga's impending assault, she is suddenly struck by Kido's transformed tail, now fortified with impenetrable scales. Yuuya realizes that Yoko had manipulated him emotionally into keeping Hitomi engaged in the fight, so that Kido, whom she had similarly manipulated to harbor animosity towards Hitomi, could deliver the fatal blow. Despite being overwhelmed by lust, Yuuya cleverly deceives Kaori, leading her to stumble into one of Yuuya's tunnels. Desperate to defend herself, Hitomi struggles to penetrate Kido's armored skin. In a pivotal moment, just as Kido is about to end Hitomi's life, he is unexpectedly attacked from behind by Taiga. Yet even Taiga fails to breach Kido's formidable defense. The revelation leaves everyone in disbelief as Kido undergoes a complete transformation, completely enveloping his body in a thick, protective layer of scales, exposing himself as a pangolin hybrid. Hitomi loses consciousness after a powerful blow. Taiga attempts to shatter Kido's impenetrable scales, but falls for a trick, resulting in the loss of his right arm. Just as all seems lost, Ichinasuke comes to Taiga's rescue, launching an attack that leaves Kido momentarily vulnerable. Seizing the opportunity, Taiga gouges out Kido's right eye. Despite their valiant efforts, both Taiga and Ichinasuke end up impaled by Kido's onslaught. Yoko gleefully proclaims her triumph on behalf of the Mitsukado faction. However, a sudden and explosive awakening occurs as Hitomi undergoes a further transformation, assuming a monstrous form resembling a honey badger. Shida unveils a startling revelation: unlike most hybrids who are genetically modified humans, Hitomi possesses hybrid DNA from birth, making her an origin beast, a flawless fusion of human and animal traits. A flashback takes us 7 years back when Shida first encountered Hitomi living like a feral creature in Hong Kong. By nurturing and spending time with her, he earned her trust and bestowed the name Hitomi upon her, despite sustaining numerous injuries himself. However, their encounter took a grim turn when Shida's colleague, Shibayama, shot Hitomi with a tranquilizer, causing her to collapse within an area controlled by the Lumen Mafia. Their dire situation was eventually resolved with the intervention of match overseer Shinya Uzaki, who rescued them from the clutches of the Mafia. During this time, Hitomi's feelings for Shida began to blossom due to his unwavering protection. Returning to the present, Hitomi unleashes a ferocious assault on Kido, displaying vastly superior strength and speed compared to her previous attacks. Hitomi successfully slashes Kido's exposed chest and proceeds to kick him into a cluster of trees, causing them to crumble under the impact. In a revealing flashback, it becomes apparent that Kido has a deep emotional connection with plants, stemming from his memories of his mother. Kido retaliates by severing Hitomi's right arm, prompting his protective scales to transform into sharp rows of knives. Relentlessly, he pummels Hitomi until she unexpectedly hurls her own severed arm into his face, creating a momentary distraction. Seizing the opportunity, Hitomi wears a smile, momentarily tricking Kido into believing she resembles his mother, which allows her to forcefully thrust her remaining arm down his throat. As Yoko rages in frustration over Kido's demise, he manages to muster the strength to stand, only to be abruptly struck down by Iruza, who decisively slashes his throat, ultimately bringing an end to his life and claiming the title of the Killing Bites champion for herself. Overwhelmed by shock, Yoko loses consciousness. Surprisingly, Yui suddenly awakens from her stupor. Attempting to escape from Iruza, Yui inadvertently executes a flawless somersault kick, rendering Iruza unconscious. Overseer Shinya Uzaki declares Yui as the new Killing Bites champion. Meanwhile, the presidents of the 4 Zaibatsu companies engage in a heated exchange, vehemently accusing each other of cheating. In a sudden turn of events, all the lights and monitors abruptly shut down. Unbeknownst to the representatives, the island has been infiltrated by chameleon hybrids, acting under orders to eliminate all surviving hybrids, thereby nullifying the match and leaving no clear victor. The chameleon hybrids, acting on Sumitomo's orders, make an attempt to eliminate all surviving hybrids, but are swiftly halted by match overseer Shinya Uzaki, who publicly proclaims Yui as the victor. In a dramatic turn of events, Leo kills the Sumitomo chairman, while Shida initiates a coup d'état alongside the Ishida and Yatsubishi chairman, as well as the anti-chairman faction of the Mitsukado group. They execute Yuzan, the Mitsukado president, granting civilians access to hybrid creation surgery. Yoko, now bereft of her influential grandfather, finds herself stripped of power. Seizing an opportunity for retribution against Yoko's mistreatment of hybrids, Leo subjects her to a heinous act of rape, subsequently claiming her as his enslaved possession. With the conclusion of the match, Yui returns to his ordinary life and Hitomi vanishes without a trace. 2 weeks later, Yui receives a message from Hitomi urging him to meet her at the arena where her initial battle against Leo took place. At the arena, Yui expresses his gratitude to Hitomi for instilling confidence in him, while Hitomi expresses her appreciation for his assistance in her matches. Yui nearly confesses his feelings, but in an unexpected twist, Hitomi suddenly launches a lethal attack, ultimately killing him under Shida's orders. As she departs, Hitomi's tears begin to flow. In the foreseeable future, hybrids become fully integrated into human society with their own city established on an island in Tokyo Bay. Non-lethal Killing Bites matches grow in popularity as a form of entertainment, attracting numerous aspiring young hybrids aspiring to become champions. However, it is revealed that Yui is still alive, planning his revenge against Hitomi, Shida, and the entire Zaibatsu organization, utilizing a pair of young female hybrids.
I hope you liked the recap. If so, don't forget to subscribe and like it.